access control in NGINX. So very first we will see how we can whitelist the server in the NGINX. The another definition we can also learn that how we can restrict or allow the specific IPs in the NGINX. So let's start with. So suppose we have the multiple users. We have the user 1, user 2 and user 3, and all these users are basically accessing the same web server. So we have a single application server, and that application server is basically served by the n number of users. So sometimes you need some requirement, you need some restriction that a specific page of your website should not be exposed to everyone. The specific like admin panel of your website should not be exposed to the end user. So how we can restrict the user to access some specific page on the website? So for this, we can put the restriction on some resources with the help of the IP filtering or the IP whitelist. So suppose we have the first machine IP like 10.3.10.45. Then we have 127.12.30.88. Then third machine have the IP like 35.90.87.00. So every machine have the specific IP that is pretty much clear. So what we can do, so to keep some resources secure from the end user or to allow the restriction on the basis of the IP, we can put the IP restriction in the NGINX. The IP restrictions are also helpful in the multiple way. So let's discuss some real-time example of the IP restrictions or the IP whitelisting in the NGINX. So suppose you have some applications in your production server. These applications are not directly exposed to the end user, but these applications are basically exposed to the internal services of your organization. It means suppose you have some authentication service, and that service is basically exposed to each service which is the part of your software. Then definitely you need to put the restrictions on the authentication web server, right? And what kind of restriction you need to put? And you need to put the restriction like only the IP which are internal to your organization can access the authentication web service. No external IP outside of your organization can access that. So in that case, you can define a range of the IP which will be allowed at the web server side. So let's see how we can allow and restrict the IP at the web server. So NGINX has the inbuilt capability to accept and deny the traffic on the IP basis. If you want to allow the traffic from some specific IP, then you can specific and deny the traffic by this particular context. You can define the location, and after the location you can define the specific path where you want to allow or deny the traffic. So suppose you want to allow the traffic on the admin panel of your website, and you only want to allow the admin panel access from a single IP, then you can define that IP with the allow directive, and for the rest of the IPs you can define deny all. Deny all means only this particular IP 190.99.00.71 will access the admin panel of the website if this location block is defined, and all the IPs apart from this particular IP will get the 403 access required. So let's see the implementation of this particular context. So let's go to the terminal, and in my terminal we will open the NGINX configuration file. Over here in the nginx.configuration file, we already have the location block, and we have the second location block where basically we have defined the cache control. Let's go to the edit mode and update this cache control block, right? Suppose we don't want the cache control and we are going to update it. And over here, suppose we are defining the allow to all PNG files with the IP. Let's find out the IP of your machine. So in the browser, type what is my IP, and you will get your IP. This is the IP of my machine. I will copy this and I will paste it here, right? So I will allow only my IP over here, and I will put deny all. What does it mean? It means that the PNG file will only be accessible to this particular IP. Rest all the IPs apart from this particular IP will not access any PNG file on this particular NGINX server. Let's close this, but before and verify the NGINX configuration. NGINX-T, right? Configuration is okay, but before reload the NGINX, let's verify the website. So if I will go to over here, right, and I will refresh my Brownie website on the browser, you can see I'm able to download all the images. These are the JPG files, but these files are the PNG files, right? And I'm able to access my complete website. Now let's go to the Google and find some online proxy. right? Here we have the online proxy. Suppose we are going to enter the URL. This is the URL. But before this, let's open the logs. So I will open the log tail-f var log nginx, clear out the console. Let's hit enter and let's go to the Firefox again. Once I'm hitting the web server from my local machine, you can see this is my IP 103.47.17190, right, which I have whitelisted in my configuration file, which is still not applicable because I have not restarted the nginx or reload the configuration. Now let's hit the same website from the proxy. So I will click this button and let's see if I will get the website. And yes, you can see I'm getting the brownie site over here, right? If I will go to the console log, then you can see this is the IP what I'm getting from the proxy 192.99.56.22. It may possible when next time you will refresh this, you will get some different IP. I will go to the terminal, exit out from the logs and reload the nginx configuration. Reload is done. I will again open the logs. Now I will go to the Firefox and refresh my site from my local machine, right? I'm getting my complete website. See, all the files are basically downloaded, right? These are the PNG files. This picture, the banner is the PNG file, and this profile is also the PNG file. So I'm not getting any issue. If I will go to the logs, then you can see if I will find out some PNG, then you see all PNG are getting 200 status. This is the PNG, this is also the PNG. They all are the PNG files. They both are the PNG file and both are getting the 200 request. And I will open the proxy again. So online proxy, I will open some other proxy like this Fastest Free Proxy Me, or you can open any proxy over here. And over here you can paste your IP. So this is the IP of my web server. I will paste it and click on go. And once you will hit your website from the proxy, if you will go to the console log, then over here you can see for all the PNG files we are getting status code 403, which means access forbidden, right? So team, by this particular way you can restrict the access on the resources of your web server from the public IPs, right? So what I need to do, let me clear out the console and open the configuration file. I just need to define the allow and I need to define the deny. Now suppose you want to put multiple IP addresses in the allow. How we can achieve that particular thing? So the one solution is you can define multiple allows over here inside your configuration file. Second thing, you can save your file. Go to any location on your nginx. Suppose I'm going to etc nginx, and over here we have few files. Let's create one more file, touch. I will call it whitelist IP. Open the whitelist IP file, and over here you can define the multiple IPs. Suppose I'm defining allow 127.0.0.1 local machine. Allow, define any IP. Suppose this is in your range 192.10.10.10.0 with the CIDR block 24. It means the IP of this particular range with the CIDR block 25. This is the range of the IP. If you are not aware with the IP range CIDR block, you can Google around it that what is the IP range CIDR block. And over here you can see I didn't define my local IP, right? Local machine IP. Now I will save this file. Exit pwd. This is the file location, whitelist IP. Now I will copy this location, open the configuration again, and this time over here instead of the allow, what I will do, will go to the insert mode and I will put include. Then paste the path and provide the file like this, right? Now let's save your file, reload the configuration. nginx-t configuration is failed. It means, and it is saying no such file in the directory. So it means we have defined, okay. So here is the spelling mistake. The file name is WHIT, not WHITE, right? So I will copy the name, open the configuration again, and I will update the file name over here. Save the file, check the configuration again, and this time it is saying that allow directive in the entry number 2. And over here we are getting error because we forgot to put the semicolon over here, right on the line number 1. I will save this and reload the configuration again. The configuration is okay. I will reload my nginx. So nginx -s reload. Nginx reload is done, and this time if you remember we have not defined the local machine IP in the configuration. So this time suppose I will refresh this site, will press F12 and refresh it. Now you can see over here in every PNG file you are getting 403. See, each PNG file is showing 403. If I will go to this file, I will copy the request, open in incognito mode to avoid the cache, and paste it here. See, we are getting 403 access forwarded. Why I am getting 403? Because my local IP is not whitelisted. So team, I hope now we are pretty much clear. This is the way how we can restrict the access to some specific path or some specific file on my server for the public IPs, right? We can whitelist the IP, or we can put the IPs inside the deny as well, so that all the IPs which is defined inside the allow block will access my resources, and all the IPs which is defined inside the deny will not access my resources on the server. 403 doesn't mean that the resource is not present on the server. 403 means resource is present, but this client is not authorized to access that particular resource.